Good morning, everyone, or good day. Welcome to the Jupyter Frontends and also Jupyter Server and Kernels call, where we meet every week during this time to talk about the various topics under these sub-projects, as well as the first of the month, an accessibility focus. We are recording this call for the Project Jupyter YouTube channel so that we can have people reference this meeting. Because of that, we also want to share that we do follow the Jupyter Code of Conduct, which is listed, I believe, in our HackMD, which I'll share a link to once more in the meetings chat. And with that said, I welcome everyone who's here. I think I see some new faces to me, so really great to have you here. I'm not sure if we want to do maybe any introductions really briefly. If you have some points in the agenda, you can always feel free to share then. And we can also have some time after the recording to maybe do some short introductions and some just off the record going through and introducing ourselves. In the meantime, I will hand it over to Ian, who is talking to us today first.
Thanks, Rozio. Yep, so I've put some comments in the notes. This is for information mostly, unless anybody complaints, I suppose. So I am planning the IPyKernel 7 release on Monday. So this will be the release with subshells. It's a major release. There are some backwards incompatibility. Well, fundamentally, it's not supposed to be backwards incompatible, but it's possible for people to have made assumptions about behavior which are no longer correct. So I'm saying it's backwards incompatible. Right? There are a few, therefore, incompatibilities in downstream projects that will need fixing eventually. People are welcome to contact me if they need specific help with that. There are some JupyterLab UI tests which have always been flaky, and I've managed to make them more flaky. I'm working on some of those and hoping for some help from the other lab maintainers. I believe that most of those problems are caused by the tests being more extreme than the kernel's expecting, so always being flaky. I don't think I have any fundamental issues with IPyKernel, but of course it's entirely possible. And so, yeah, finally, I said, yeah, anybody having problems should simply pin IPyKernel less than 7 whilst we fix them and report the problems to me. And yeah, so that's me done. Thank you.
Nick, go ahead, I think.
I'd recommend making a thread on an issue specifically for this purpose that acts as a place where people can link to it and then come back out of it. So this wouldn't be the original issue that discusses the entire history and everything of subshells, but something that we can point people to either comment on, but ideally more to link to. So if you find someone that has another wrapper kernel that's using the IPyKernel features, and you land there and you see someone else that has another wrapper kernel that is a similar issue, that's going to give them a nice bidirectional roadmap for how to fix those things. That'd be my one recommendation.
Yep, thanks, Nick. That's a good idea. I'll do that. I'll create an issue in IPyKernel. I will make sure I refer to that when I make the announcements on Zulip, and I will retrospectively make sure there's a link in our notes here so people can cross-reference. Thank you.
And probably pin it.
Thanks, Ian and Nick, for sharing. I think up next we have Jen and Thomas.
Hello. It's been quite a few years for me since I've attended this meeting, I think maybe 2021. Thomas and I work at Space Telescope Science Institute, and we publish a lot of stuff with Jupyter Notebooks and Jupyter and infrastructure in general. And we wanted to get some time to like do some focus on accessibility. I was just seeing in the notes that maybe the first week of every month is kind of, you like talk about that. So maybe we missed it last week. But we're here to get a sense of what's going on right now. We've started talking to some developers who are screen reader users and experts. And we're just trying to get together like this project and see if we could get some focus time to get people working on some of the like the WCAG issues and stuff. We took a look at the issues, the open issues, and we saw there's some. And yeah, basically we're just curious like what the lay of the land is with this right now. And yeah, Thomas, if you have anything to add.
I was just going to add, since some introductions are in order, I think, yeah. Hi, I'm Thomas. As Jen said, I work at Space Telescope. We write a ton of notebooks for this, and in particular, the reason why this is becoming pressing for us is that in about a year, a new telescope is going to launch, and it's going to dump 30 petabytes of data in the archive, and the only viable method people will have to access that will be through a JupyterLab instance. And so because there are some concerns about how easy that is for people who use screen readers, we're just trying to make sure that we do our due diligence and that we're not accidentally locking people out of the data. Because again, this is the only way for people to get at it. So yeah, I guess that's basically it. Like Jen said, we're just trying to understand if there are other people who are currently focusing on that aspect of the front end, and if not, we're gonna try to find some time and developer resources for this stuff and contribute to it. So excited to start working with y'all.
And Matthias, I see you have your hand raised.
Hey, yeah, also quick introduction. I work at Quantstack, mostly together with Sylvain, the CEO, on funding and organizing projects. And I just wanted to say that we have actually, I think, two projects that we're looking for funding for in the accessibility space right now, which are kind of already written out. And so we have a few ideas in that direction as well. So happy to discuss that more if you want.
Yeah, I would be very interested in hearing about that, either now or if you just wanted to follow up offline with an email or something else. I'm very curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's best with an email to do that afterwards. If you want to send one, I can post in the chat here my my email.
Okay.
I would also encourage to check last week notes of recording. There was a group from Berkeley, I believe, who created extension to check and improve accessibility of actual notebooks you might be interested in. But I know a lot of people in the community work on that. So first week of the month is a good target as well to meet more of them.
And just to share a little bit more on that too, for the first week of the month, the first meeting of the month, I think the goal there is to prioritize accessibility. I think other people in the call that have joined will agree that that doesn't always lead to an accessibility discussion or focused discussion in the meeting, but that is the goal. So we want, if there are any topics that come up that are related to accessibility during those meetings, those are highlighted first and addressed first as well. Ideally, I think, yeah, last week we went a little bit out of order, but yeah.
So a question I have is, there's several issues tagged accessibility. At least one I saw was extremely extensive, going through like breaking WCAG issues and things like that. Are there developers who are currently who have taken any of those and acted on them, or is it mostly that like issues get created and they sit there?
I think it's a hard question to answer because, over time, various folks will have the availability to pick up issues. I think we probably are in a somewhat quieter period right now. If any issue hasn't had activity in a while, I think it is fair game to pick up.
Okay. And then another question is if part of our project was identifying issues, would it be best if we had our own separate little repo that like was listing these issues, or should we just be putting them right in the main Jupyter project with the tag accessibility?
I think great to add them to whatever repo the issue is in, if you can identify it. And then it won't just be accessibility focused folks seeing them. It'll be, anyone who wants to contribute to that repo.
Okay, so basically to the relevant part of the project that is being affected.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think folks here could probably help direct you if there are any that you're uncertain about what the relevant part of the project is.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. So I'm thinking like workflow wise, it's like once we start getting a list of these things, if it's not obvious, we would perhaps come to this meeting and like talk through some of the issues, and you all could help us, post them in the right place.
Yeah, personally, I'd love to have that go on in this meeting.
And hopefully some positive status updates too as we fix things and work on tackling the issues. But yeah, it'll be good when we get this started.
Another question I have is this meeting like, does it tend to be oversubscribed? Like if we're like, hey, we're coming, especially to the first one of every month, but like if we get a group of people together who are actively working on this, should we be showing up to this meeting and like giving status updates? Is that like an important thing, or versus like okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Okay, oh, that's really helpful. And by the way, caveat on all this, I don't know when we're actually going to get funding for this, probably within the next like year, but might not be like super soon. We missed a recent deadline for some funding, and so we'll see. But we're trying to like get this really solid and planned. And we might start finding issues ahead of actually getting funding for people to like be paid to work on that. Yeah, assuming we get funding at all, but let's fingers crossed.
Also, I just wanted to mention that Zulip and Discourse are another potential communication channels. Discourse, and correct me if I'm wrong, other people who participate in the call, but I would say Discourse is probably provides you with more exposure to like wide Jupyter community, and Zulip maybe provides more access to like core contributors versus so right like wide. Yeah, like core contributors can often reply in Zulip chat. So yeah, just wanted to mention that, and definitely again would encourage to like proactively. It's fine to if issue is stale and no one was working on it, to start working on it after a friendly comment maybe, or just at the same time. Like Jupyter always was saying that it's okay to have a couple of people to work on the same feature, but of course it's an unoptimal spend of resources, right? Which we would like to avoid. Yep, thank you.
Okay, another question that is coming up for me is if we have some people working on this and let's say they make progress on an issue, is it just the standard like open source like for oh my God, for upstreaming it, like, do we need to be like proving this in a separate project first and then like merging it, or is it just like little fixes to one issue at a time and you guys would accept it and bring it into the project? Like, how does that workflow work?
I think it's fairly standard for open source. I've just posted a chat to the contributor documentation, which may answer a lot of those questions.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, contributions are welcome, PRs are welcome. Cannot guarantee they'll be merged on time or whatever your timeline is, but they will be looked at and merged eventually.
Okay, well, those that was all very helpful. Thomas, do you have any additional questions?
No, I don't think that there's anything from me right now. So
Okay, so yeah, FYI, we have something brewing in the background, and we'll show up when and if anything happens with it.
Very glad to have you here and good luck with the funding.
Thank you.
yeah, it's so much fun right now trying to get funding for this kind of stuff. So thanks. I think that's probably it for our agenda item.
Thank you everyone for discussing, and thank you Jen and Thomas for joining today and sharing this news with us. Really excited to see more accessibility work. I think up next is Matthias. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah. Hey, it's my first time in this course, so I don't really know what the process is and so on, but we are working on a project which may be interesting to others as well. And so I thought we can quickly introduce it. It's about triaging all of the open JupyterLab issues in a slightly different way now with the help of Cloud Code, etc., and so on. So we've basically we have generated a big database of all of the JupyterLab issues. We have about 2,500 which are open right now. There are, if you include PRs, almost 18,000 issues. And so we are feeding that to an agent which also has access to the code base and some other context and information. It gets information about similar issues and so on. And so you can get pretty nice summaries on the state of issues with this, and also some first idea about whether a solution would be complex or not, whether it would be risky or not. And with that, we can prioritize a bit better what to work on, and also hopefully close some issues which are just open, even though they are already resolved, or duplicates in the coming months, let's say. So I just wanted to let everyone know that we are working on this, and we also want to write maybe a small blog post about it soon, which will make it a bit more transparent what's actually happening. And maybe I can just give a very minor glimpse into how it looks like. If I can share my screen here, I don't know if that's possible.
Yes, feel free to share your screen.
Okay. So this is basically, can you see this? This is the database of all of the 18,000 JupyterLab issues. already embedded into by some basically by the conversation. And yeah, so you see there's lots of little clusters where things group, and all of these lines are related issues. And yeah, so anyway, so that's just a quick glimpse into what's coming, and maybe we'll present a bit more over the coming weeks here. But if you're looking for integration with AI agents to tackle something like this, then feel free to reach out.
Thanks, TSA. Will mentioned that I think that I'm not sure if you're aware, but there is a triaging call. And that usually takes place during this time on Tuesday. So I think most of the people that attend that call, I think, are here usually. So but that is another place that where like I think maybe a more of a in-depth discussion of triaging could happen. I don't know if anyone else on the call has additional thoughts, but just wanted to point that out. It is on the community calendar. I can share a link.
Yeah, happy to come there if you think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it would be nice. You could show us how to use the tool and stuff.
Okay, then let's plan it for next week, Tuesday, I guess, if it's happening then.
We meet every week. Oh, sorry.
Sounds good.
Is there a bit of time left during these triage meetings to go through the backlog of issues? Because then that could be a nice way to get to play with the tool, I guess, right? Because if I remember correctly, normally the triage meeting is more focused on the issues that have this need triage, right, label. Try to give an answer to or reply to the people who open the issues to show activity. But yeah, it would be great if there could be a way to do something with the huge backlog of issues. I'm pretty sure that many of them could be closed, but doing that by hand is it looks like a ton
Oh
of work.
yeah, it's actually a good point because like how does this tool relevant to the triaging at all, right? If it mostly like rates issues that were already triaged. That's a really good point, Jeremy. I agree. So usually we don't have much time left. Last meeting this week we did have some time left. But for example, previously we ran out of time, and usually we don't have much time left. Generally, I would definitely say that backlog trimming is a very important activity. I'm just not sure that like expanding the scope of the triaging group is a right way to handle it, because like we could do it whenever we have time for sure. It's just usually we don't have time.
I mean, using the
Yeah.
tool, I realized also that it's quite nice to do it interactively, because I mean, the agent gives you a pretty good summary and so on, but then sometimes you want to ask a follow-up question before actually making a decision. And yeah, and then at some point you get to a point where you just need to make a decision, basically. I mean, there's lots of gray zones, gray zone cases here, where you could close something or you could keep it open. And yeah, so I think that's why it's nice to have several people who can then actually make the decision together and do it on the fly, basically.
So yeah, again, I don't think it's like I would say that that the triaging group is the right place to do it, and also because there is not much resource there as far as I can say. So if we would have more time, we can reconsider for sure. But I would say that this call could be a more appropriate place, right? Because also like triaging incoming issues and trimming backlog, it's a different skill set a little bit, right? It's a little bit different tasks. So it would be nice to have like I'm super happy with how tracking group works now, but it would be nice to have even more like core contributors participating in the backlog trimming, right? Because there are like decisions of like, oh, there are more decisions that impact it seems to me, the direction of the project. Yep. And for this front-end calls, we also had a precedence, right, of like looking at the issues, for example, before major releases or minor releases, just big releases or something like that. Not that we have that much time always consistently, but yeah, just sharing my thoughts on the topic. Uh, creating a new work group is always a question of like staffing, right? And this consistent work always kind of arises. So yeah, I would say most realistic from my point of view is maybe using it here during this call, trying to have like, 10, 15 minutes maybe every call or just on a availability basis.
Okay, then maybe we can aim for 10, 15 minutes next week in this call.
Yeah,
Try to
let's see
trim some stuff.
how this call shakes out, right?
I mean, today I'm not ready to actually do it because I regenerate the database right now.
Oh, okay, sure.
But I mean, there's some stuff pre-generated which we could use. I dumped some stuff into a Google Sheet. So we can have a look at this if you want. I can share it here.
Yeah, we can either share this as a part of the recording, or we could, or if you need a few minutes to set up or anything like that. I think actually this is the last topic on the agenda, so.
I mean, I have it here, so I can, yeah, I just paste it first if anyone wants to look at it themselves.
Yeah, actually,
And
anything else on the agenda. So, Matthias, you could take it away if you think we could look at something now. We could look at something now, or
yeah, okay.
you
Yeah, let
maybe
me
could
share
share
it
your screen.
then. Also share the screen. Yeah. 1 second. It's my daughter coming in. Cléo, je travaille. Sorry. 1 second. Okay. Trying to share this. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's maybe a bit small. I don't know. Okay, so basically, this is just the kind of the finished assessment, and I would love to maybe next week demo how it gets how we get there. So basically, I mean, this is just an issue number, URL, and title. Nothing specific here. This is a very short summary of the issue conversation. Just for kind of internal reasons, also because when you build these bigger MCPs for the agents, you need to reduce the token counts. But then this is the interesting part, which is the assessment of this issue. And so let's, for example, look at this one. So it's already sorted by, or maybe it's better I explain first how it's sorting stuff. So why this issue is actually on top. Because when this report is generated, which is an assessment of the issue, basically we ask the agent to assess the severity of the issue, which is defined as how much your activity on JupyterLab gets impeded. If I think that's a word, right? By that issue. So medium means you can still find a workaround, but it's quite severe. High means basically you can't continue working. Low means it's easy to work around it. It's kind of a usability issue. Frequency means how often you encounter this if you are affected. And prevalence means how many of the user base, of the total user base of JupyterLab are affected. And these are, I mean, of course, pretty badly defined estimates by the LLM, which it somehow tries to guess. But I mean, since it's just for first prioritization, that's not so much of a problem. And then we ask it also to estimate the solution complexity and the solution risk. So solution complexity is fairly straightforward, I think, what that means. Solution risk is basically whether this is likely to break or influence other features, components, and so on. And then we kind of just multiply these, the 3 first and the second and the last 2. So the 3 first, they give us this number. So 3 times 3 times 3 would be 27. 2 times 3 times 3 is 18. And we multiply these 2, where low is 1, medium is 2, high is 3. And then we divide the first one by the second, and we get this priority score. So basically, we're looking for issues which have a lot of which affect a lot of users, which have a lot of engagement, and which are easy to solve. And so something it thinks is very high priority is syntax highlighting for SQL Cell Magic after this, which is issue 3869. And then you get this report. It's, I mean, I don't need to read the summary, I think, because it's fairly straightforward. So how did you get to this assessment? While SQL Cell Magic functions without highlighting lack of syntax, highlighting significantly impacts code readability and developer productivity. Oh, I think I jumped a word, maybe. This affects code quality, debugging efficiency, blah, blah, blah. So it thinks it's severe not to have this SQL syntax highlighting. It thinks the frequency is high because it's very common in data science and analytics workflows to use SQL. It thinks that a large portion of JupyterLab users is affected because basically its reasoning is that SQL is quite common. And then in terms of the technical assessment, it thinks it's very easy. It also says, which components are affected and which files and so on, which we could actually use to do some fun things afterwards, like, tying issues back to particular parts of the code. Solution risk low, solution complexity low, affected components, blah, blah. I think it's fine. So it would love to work on that. Somebody works on this thing, which doesn't help us, I guess, in this trimming meeting now, because we're not looking for things to work on, but more for things to close. And so, sorry, maybe stopping just for a second. So that's how the whole thing looks like, basically. Any comments about this already? Sorry that I started with one which is not there to be closed, but yeah. Otherwise, we could just look for the first one, which would be closed, which it wants to close. Okay, prioritize, close. Okay, so it would like to close issue 2289, spinner during cell execution. And this discusses the addition of a more visible indicator from when a cell is running in JupyterLab. This spinner. During cell execution, it actually thinks it's quite important, but I think it believes that it's already solved. Let's see here in the rational final recommendation close. This issue has been comprehensively addressed through the implementation of the execution indicator system. JupyterLab now provides multiple visual cues for cell execution, progress circles with percentages, elapsed time, configurable status bar, toolbar indicators, cell prompt updates, minimap visualization, and error indicators. These solutions address the original concern about visibility while avoiding the performance issues of animated spinners discussed in the conversation. So maybe we can open this up to discussion. Should we close this issue?
I'm not sure. Yeah, we don't really have like a spinner. So there is this kernel status indicator, which is now named the execution indicator, which is exactly what the LLM wrote, which is good. But let's see. Percentages. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's really so. So if you queue multiple cells, normally there is like a way to see it, but only if you click on the kernel status indicator. So I'm pretty sure we could just you could say I think it's fine to close, but it's also I think there is still room for improvement there, right? When it comes to showing something when the set is executed, because right now, if you don't click on that indicator, the only thing that changes is whether the circle is filled or not, which mostly reflects the kernel status, like busy or idle. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe other people have an opinion on that.
I mean, the real answer is what does a screen reader see, right? If we answer that and it says the cell is running, the cell is stopped, then you win. Then we've got a fully accessible log for it, and we can use that for testing and all that stuff. I mean, I think the problem is that you don't know, right? Like the cell is run, the kernel's idle, but it's doing something in the background. There's no way for a kernel to say, I have accepted your input, but I'm still doing something, right? I'm not going to tell you that I'm not busy. I can do other stuff. So that's certainly a bit harder. But yeah, I have not evaluated what the current stuff does from that perspective.
So that's interesting, I find, because did I understand correctly that it's kind of like a follow-up question whether screen readers see the cell status?
Yeah, I mean, really on any of these things, having a column for accessibility concerns, if your magic pile of tensors can find those things, there's things that are not described as accessibility issues that are often, features. I mean, even syntax highlighting, right? Syntax highlighting is just broken for a lot of people that can't see colors in the space that it's in. But that I'm sure didn't come up on the SQL one. So, pretty much all these things need to have anything that sounds like a feature probably needs to have an accessibility aspect to it, and we could just include that on the issue template. That would, getting people to think about it directly rather than relying on a bag of tensors would probably help.
I'm more now wondering about the process for trimming the backlog. So for example, I mean, in principle, if this was interactive, it would be very easy to ask that question, whether, this is visible for a screen reader or not, and get an answer. And if that's the only question to ask, which is then is deciding on whether we would close or not, that's that's easy to find out in some sense. So that's why I said it's nice if this is interactive and not, just in the sheet, because then you can directly resolve such questions. So shall we keep it and put that question to it?
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably going to be similar with other issues, but yeah, it's sometimes a bit tough to really decide because in a way, even if it's say it could be implemented like in the future, like a very long time from now. So there is always like this kind of idea of, yeah, maybe when we have time we can look at it. And I guess that's why we have like now 2,500 issues on the repo. But for that particular issue, that to give an example, yeah, in Jupyter Lite, there were like some feedback about like not knowing what happens when the kernel starts and fails. So now in Lite there is this spinner. There's a real spinner in the toolbar, which makes it a little bit easier to see like that something is running. So if we would really want to fix that particular issue, I think in lab, maybe one way could be to look into integrating something like we have in Lite. And also making sure, yeah, that in terms of accessibility, everything works well, but yeah, or at least provide the option to maybe, I don't know, show like a different type of indicator when the set is being executed.
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
I was trying to read the original comment and see like what the author meant, but it was only like 3 lines. So and it was also open in 2017, so it was a long time ago. I don't remember exactly what JupyterLab looked like at the time. So maybe it didn't have this execution indicator at all.
I mean, to me, there's also another approach to trimming, which is to try to group similar things together. Especially if there are, if this is a larger point to look into accessibility and so on. And I mean, I think many issues will be like that actually. That there are some follow-up questions that we're a little bit in between, closing or not closing. Shall we look at another one? Or what do people think in general? Is this useful to do?
I think it's useful. Yeah. Yeah. I tried to do something similar, but by hand, manually, like a long time ago, and try to close some old issues. But I feel like having this database already makes it much easier, to navigate everything than having to search the GitHub repo by hand. So yeah, would be great to try to use that.
So let's look at another.
Yep, I
Maybe
think
can
we have
filter.
a few minutes left in the call, so
Okay.
Mhm.
That means, yes, we can do it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's only look at the ones that want to close, filtering out this. Okay. Actually, I'm just wondering, since we sorted by priority, these are maybe also the most difficult to close because they have a high priority score. Maybe there are also some it considers not very important. Let's try one like this. Okay, this has a very low one. Severity low, frequency low, prevalence low, solution complexity high, and risk medium. Okay, this is issue 831. Make it possible to call another notebook with parameters. The issue proposes adding the ability to call one JupyterLab notebook from another with parameters, similar to a new feature in Databricks. Key discussion points include the introduction of the sub-notebook package. User David Brochard as a potential solution. The issue has been open for some time with limited community engagement. By the way, there's still a problem with emojis here because that's why I'm regenerating the database. Okay, so yeah, I think it's probably fairly straightforward what it thinks. Maybe we can jump directly to the rationale. So it wants to close it because this feature request can be addressed through existing extension mechanisms rather than core JupyterLab functionality. The sub-notebook package mentioned in the discussion demonstrates that this capability can be implemented externally. JupyterLab's recent addition of kernel subshells provides the foundation for advanced execution patterns. Very low community engagement over 5+ years suggests limited demand for this specific feature. Core development should focus on platform capabilities that enable such extensions rather than implementing every workflow pattern directly. Opinions?
In my opinion, this one could be closed with this recommendation, because see where it could be relevant to JupyterLab or Jupyter Frontends. It's more like like at the Python level in case of Python notebooks, right? Being able to call something else from a notebook. And there is indeed like this outside package which implements something like this. So very often we also, well, not often, but like sometimes when there is an extension out there already that answers one of the issues, then to me it sounds like a good idea to just point to that extensions and then close the issue, and then maybe if that extension is popular to bring it back into core, then it can happen. But in this case, I don't know if it's really like in the scope of JupyterLab actually. Yeah.
Other opinions?
Yeah, maybe just tagging it as an extension and closing it is okay in this case. I think there's a tag for extensions and extension ideas. So
how would we actually close it then? Concretely, who can close issues and what do you do if you want to close an issue?
I think a few of us here, most excuse me, most contributors here have I think at least triage level permissions on the repo. I can go ahead and close it for us, but if that sounds good to everyone, I'll go and tag it as well.
And shall we post in this recommendation basically?
Yeah, if
Do you have access
would
to
you
the
like
doc?
to leave a comment? Or yes, I can access the document, and I can tag you in there, and I'll close it with a comment there, so I can. Would you
Yeah,
like me to
as you
paste the
as you want,
rationale?
I don't have much to add, to be honest. You can tag me if you want.
Yes.
But
Okay.
yeah, you can post the rationale. I don't know. I mean, I've never
Okay.
closed anything on JupyterLab, so I don't know how this is done usually.
Yeah, I can also just, I think another option is also to reference this call and to mention just briefly like the use of this tool and your presentation here, for anybody that wants to research and do some research on that or search it up. I will just mention that we had this discussion on the call, and that this came about via the tool, so we can we voted to close the issue in
Okay.
accordance with the recommendation here. Okay, it'll take me a minute to finish that up, but I will say here. Okay.
So yeah, there is like a triage set of permissions usually on GitHub. And yeah, maybe if you want to experiment with this more, Matthias, it could make sense to have you be part of that group. Yeah. So you can set labels on the issues and also close them.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think we should all, like, unfortunately, I think we need to, or unfortunately, maybe also fortunately, we need to kind of vote on every issue that gets closed, I guess. I mean, I don't want to
Yeah, for sure.
automate everything fully. I think we should just use it right now to help us gather the data.
Yeah, I wonder if the tool could be, could also look at the Git history and try to find the relevant contributors, that could have an opinion on an issue. So
Yeah, and ping
then,
them.
yeah, and ping them. Yeah,
It should be possible also. I mean, if you introduce code owners or something, it's possible as well, especially
that's
because
right.
it outputs the, I mean, something which is quite nice is that it can output the affected components, files, and also the objects here. So I guess the files, they directly map to the code owners if we would have that. And so you could ping people based on this.
Yeah,
I wonder
I
if
think the
we
main
can
problem is.
create. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if we can create a bot that will post a comment with all this rationale, and people can vote with like reactions on GitHub, thumbs up, thumbs down for like a decision, and then the bot can collect that and like close the issue if it sees enough votes from correct people, but for whatever definition of correct people.
Yeah, yes. The only problem is that GitHub reactions don't track who actually did the reaction.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Is that true? Let me see.
At least through the API, you only get
Uh,
kind of a thumbs up and then 10 or something like this. I don't know if you can see it on the graphical user interface.
I can take a look for the next time.
Okay. But we would need it through the API if it's a bot in any case. So, but yeah.
And just a quick time check, we are over the hour. And I just an update as well. I did go ahead and close the issue there, and I pinged you. I'm adding the rationale in a drop down for anybody who's interested there to take a closer look.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Well, first one
you.
issue closed at least.
Yeah, let's celebrate.
Yes, we do it. Yeah, I mean, maybe we can do 1 or 2 more sessions to experiment, and afterwards we can estimate how many sessions we need to trim down the backlog by, I don't know, 30% or something.
You can do it as much, just continue doing it. It's a good exercise, you know? Like continue trimming until it's all trimmed and we don't have any trim anymore.
For sure. Cool. Yeah, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, thanks for creating this tool, Marius. It's really cool. I think it's very useful. It's really hard to, you know, operate as a individual on with that amount of issues and stuff like that. I think machine help is nice.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. See you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks everyone for joining. I'll stop the recording now.
Bye.